Today in the garage I have a 2006 Scion XA, and I'll be showing you how to change the transmission fluid and filter. This car is an automatic with just over 100,000 miles. The tools required for this job are a 3/8 ratchet, a long extension, short extension, 10mm socket, a 10mm hex or a 10mm Allen key, a funnel, and the two optional tools are a torque wrench and an electric driver with a 10mm socket. That just helps the removal of the transmission pan go a little quicker. The fluid I'm using is Toyota Type T4. Since I'm doing just a simple drain and fill, the capacity is just over 3 quarts, so you'll need 4 quarts total, and also a new transmission bolt drain gasket. And then the transmission filter from ATP, I'll put a part number in the description of the video here. Okay, so I'll show you real quick what comes in the new filter kit. Here's the actual filter itself. A new transmission drain bolt washer here, and a new gasket. Alright, so here on the driver's side, we'll go ahead and remove this splash shield here so we can reach the transmission pan. Okay, so the transmission pan itself is located on the driver's side. You can see the drain bolt right here, and it is a 10mm hex. So I'll go ahead and remove that and we'll get the transmission fluid draining. Alright, so with most of the transmission fluid drained, we'll go ahead and put the drain plug back in. Remember to replace this crush washer here with a new one. And the torque spec on this bolt is 36 foot-pounds. Alright, so from here I'm going to remove all 19 of the 10mm transmission pan bolts, and then we'll drop the pan and replace the filter. Alright, so it might be kind of stuck. So you might have to kind of wiggle it a little bit, and there'll definitely be some more fluid left in here. So just be careful with that. So I'll move the camera to the opposite side, and I'll go ahead and remove these 3 10mm bolts that hold the filter in. Alright, so before installing the new transmission filter, one thing you want to check to make sure is that this O-ring here is properly seated. When I opened my package, it wasn't on there correctly. There we go. And the torque spec on these bolts is around 4 foot-pounds. I can't measure that with my tools here, so I'll just kind of snug them down tight. And from here we'll go ahead and clean off the mating surface between the pan and the transmission. Okay, so I have the transmission pan here. First thing we'll want to do is remove the old gasket. And next we'll clean off the magnets here. These will actually come off the pan. And now from here we can install the new gasket. And something you can do to help with this is use the bolts to come up through the bottom and through the new gasket. And this will kind of hold it in place. Alright, so from here, with the new gasket installed, we can go ahead and put it back on the car. I've already started a few bolts through the gasket. I think the torque specs are around 4 to 5 foot-pounds. And again, I'm not going to measure that out. I'm just going to snug them up and not put them on too tight. Alright, so with all the bolts snugged down properly, go ahead and reattach the lower splash pan, and then we'll go up top. Alright, so now we can start refilling the transmission with fluid. Go ahead and remove the transmission dipstick and set it off to the side. And then insert a small funnel. Now I think in the manual it says the capacity is 3.1 quarts whenever you just do the drain and fill. I drained out about 3.5, so I'll start with 3. We'll start the car up, cycle through the gears a couple times, and then check the level and just add the fluid as necessary. Alright, so with the first 3 quarts added, I'll go ahead and start the car and cycle through the gears a couple times, and then we'll come back and check the level. Alright, looks good. I'm going to go drive the car around for a few minutes, and then we'll check the level again to make sure it's perfect. Alright, so after driving the car around and getting it nice and warm, we'll check the level again and see where we're at. I don't know if you can notice here, there are 2 little marks. The lower one is when the engine's cold, the upper one's when the engine's warm. I'm reading right about the level when the engine's cold, but since it's warm now, I'll add a little bit more fluid. Alright, looks good. Other than that, I think it pretty much wraps this job up. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.